Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Why does Canelo Alvarez have so many haters? Let's just break it down. In a recent interview by Boxing Scene, Jaime Munguia came out and, he stated that, Canelo Alvarez is the best boxer Mexico has. I don't know why people don't like him, but he keeps going. He doesn't care what people says. He doesn't understand why the haters. And so, look, let's just break it down. There's a lot of reasons why people don't like Canelo Alvarez, and we're just going to go through them, and we're just going to address them with nothing but facts, because we're going to leave the feelings out of it, we're going to leave the emotions out of it, and we're only going to focus on the facts. And and the first reason that I always hear why people don't like Canelo Alvarez is that they call him a drug cheat. Now, the funny thing about that is Canelo Alvarez was actually cleared of intentionally ingesting clenbuterol. But, some fans will never acknowledge and let that go. They won't acknowledge that he was cleared of taking or ingesting any intentionally clenbuterol. He never did it. It was only trace amounts. But, some people won't accept that. Some people will never accept it. Some people will always call him a drug cheat, regardless of the facts, regardless of the evidence presented. Canelo Alvarez took a hair follicle test and it tested negative. And so, it pretty much cleared him. And, leading up to the hair follicle test, everyone was screaming, Canelo needs to take this test. He needs to take this test. Everything's going to depend on this test. The moment he passed the test, people stopped caring about the test. People stopped acknowledging the test. People stopped acting like the test was relevant or mattered. See, leading up to the test, it was all everyone could talk about. After he took the test, no one wanted to acknowledge its existence. At the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez was cleared of intentionally ingesting clenbuterol, but people will always call him a drug cheat. Not all people, but fanboys, haters, people that don't like facts, people that want to tarnish his legacy. Look, let me explain to you about the negative hair follicle test. It's notable because when clenbuterol is detectable in urine for less than a week after it's ingested, the drug can be detected in the hair for several months. So think about it like that. So if he was intentionally taking clenbuterol, it would have still been in his hair for several months after. So there's no way that he would be able to pass a hair follicle assessment if he was intentionally ingesting clenbuterol. It doesn't make sense. That gives credibility to Canelo Alvarez's statement that, it was only trace amounts and that he didn't intentionally ingest it. Let's be honest and unbiased. If he was taking larger doses, he would have failed that test. We got to be real about this. And, according to dopology.org, and these guys extensively cover, all types of doping in professional sports, such as, cycling, weightlifting, wrestling, as well as boxing, and many other substances, as well as clenbuterol. They state that clenbuterol itself accumulates in very small amount in hair follicles. So if an athlete has taken the substance over a period of time in the past, his or her hair test might return a positive for a period of up to 6 months or even longer. Now, on the other end, if the clenbuterol resulted from a single incident in which the person had eaten meat or tainted meat, for example, the hair follicle will most certainly be negative. Canelo Alvarez is no drug cheat, and he was cleared of any wrongdoing in intentionally ingesting clenbuterol. Those are the facts. Now, the next reason why Canelo Alvarez is hated is people say that, Canelo Alvarez, he cherry picks. He's not the best. He fights beat up fighters. He fights fighters out of their prime. He doesn't fight, the best. Well, let's just look at this. Canelo Alvarez is considered number one pound for pound today by most journalists. But, the people that don't have him number one pound for pound, they argue that his resume is full of holes. Well, let's take a look at his resume. First of all, Sergey Kovalev, the moment when Canelo Alvarez fought him, technically did have the best resume at 175 pounds. The moment that he fought him, had the best resume at 175, period. He had the better resume. He arguably beat Andre Ward in the first fight. He came off of 2 wins and 2 knockout wins, actually. So you got to give Canelo the credit for that. You also look at it when he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. A lot of people don't want to give him, credit and say, well, it doesn't matter if he wins or lost. He fought the #1 pound-for-pound guy, and yet Canelo Alvarez was nowhere near his prime. Canelo Alvarez wasn't even in the top 10. He should get credit for that. He fought an undefeated, elite level Landy Lara. He fought a world champion, an undefeated world champion in Austin Trout. That guy was another prime fighter. He made offers to Callum Smith. He got it rejected. He made an offer to Billy Joe Saunders. He rejected it, but then accepted. So he's trying to fight the best. He's trying to fight guys in their prime. He made one to Callum Smith and he rejected it. He made one to Jamal Charlo and he rejected it. And these are career high paydays that are being put out. So when people try to bring up prime and resume, these guys simply don't want to speak the facts. They don't want to speak the truth. They just want to push a narrative so they can keep him from being #1 pound for pound. And then the next reason that I have is people always talk about catch weights, and rehydration clause. And the interesting thing about this is, if you look at it, a rehydration clause is not inherently a bad thing. A lot of fighters win belts at a rehydration clause. For example, Danny Jacobs won his belt with the rehydration clause. Sergey Kovalev won the IBF belt himself with the rehydration clause. So both of these guys fought with that same clause, and no one cared. But the moment he fought Canelo Alvarez, everyone else cared about a rehydration clause. Even, Andre Rozier, Danny Jacobs' trainer, at the time when they were fighting Canelo, said a rehydration clause is going to make no difference. A rehydration clause pretty much keeps a guy in check, fighting at the weight class he's supposed to be fighting at, instead of trying to fight at a lower weight class that he no longer fits. Ballooning up 20 pounds or something ridiculous like that. But the funny thing is, a catch weight is much more detrimental because you can't really win a world title at a catch weight. Look at it like this. Floyd Mayweather boasted about a catch weight over Canelo Alvarez. Boasted about it, was happy about it, made fun of it, and stated, we set you up with the catch weight. No one cares. No one brings that up on his legacy because it doesn't, it doesn't hold all the weight. And a catch weight is a terrible thing for boxing when you should be using rehydration clauses to keep fighters safe. But people don't care about the facts. People want to push a narrative. People want to push an agenda. The same with, the contract catch weight between Miguel Cotto and Manny Pacquiao. People don't want to look at other superstars. They don't come to Pacquiao with that. They don't come to Floyd with that. They come to Canelo with that because any and everything you try to do is try to, taint the best fighter in the world right now so you can have someone else above him. That's all it is. We're just using facts. We're not using anything other than facts. We keep all the feelings out of it. When you look at catch weights, you look at guys like Sugar Ray Leonard. He used a catch weight. Bernard Hopkins used a catch weight. Julio Cesar Chavez used a catch weight. These guys used a catch weight. So we can't act like all-time greats didn't use it. And so that's not detrimental compared to a rehydration clause. A rehydration clause is nothing. It keeps the fighter safe, fighting in the weight class they belong. And the funny thing about that is, after Canelo fought Danny Jacobs, what did he do? Move up in weight. So he moves up in weight immediately after Canelo fight. So he needed a rehydration clause because he didn't belong at 160 pounds. Sergey Kovalev planning to move to cruiserweight immediately after the Canelo Alvarez fight. What does that mean? He didn't belong at 175 pounds when he fought Canelo Alvarez. These guys are trying to make the weight so they can get an enormous payday and fight at weights that don't belong. We got to be honest and unbiased. So when people ask me, hey, why is Canelo so hated? Because there's a lot of false narratives of being the best fighter today. But once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP.